I think we've been focusing on the wrong thing when it comes to the PS5 Pro. There's a long list of topics that have been the center of much debate and discussion. There was the price and whether or not you could build a PC for $700 that would be just as good. There was the power. Everybody was looking at the CPU being the same and then the uptick in the GPU. There was a lack of new games. Why aren't you showing us new games? Why are you only showing us games that have already been out for a while? And some of those games were PS4 games. And then there were comparisons. Let's have 11 games at an event and hands-on with Digital Foundry, looking at just how much better the games were going to look. And then there was a focus on the ray tracing. I myself argued that, like, hey, ray tracing is going to make this thing industry disruptive because of how much developers like ray tracing. But more and more it seems that the sleeper hit in the room has strangely moved out of the frame, but is starting to take the center stage in the conversation. I, of course, am talking about the PSSR. The raw power of the GPU going up and the advanced ray tracing, these are certainly important, and the devs are making it clear they're enjoying adding more ray tracing and getting 60 FPS while boosting fidelity and resolution. But recent developments and comments from developers are pointing to the PSSR being the secret weapon. Now, whenever I do a video like this, I follow it with a live stream so I can discuss it with you. So if you like this kind of content, hit like and subscribe. What sent me down this rabbit trail with PSSR might actually surprise you. It was a comment from the franchise director of Dying Light, of all games, and devs are seemingly lining up. They want to leverage the new tech of the Pro, and his remarks were pretty interesting. Gaming Bolt has the article, and the title alone was pretty attention-grabbing. It said PSSR could potentially be more important than direct increase in GPU power. Now, traditionally, focusing on increasing the raw power of a machine, that's the most important thing, and it still is important, but upscaling technology is changing things at a pretty rapid rate. Essentially what it comes along and says is, hey, we can do some of the heavy lifting so the raw power of the machine doesn't have to. So first, from the article, I want to pull out a quote that I find encouraging as more and more devs are talking like this. It said this: "This kind of power also means generally smoother gameplay at higher resolutions, and that's something very important for a game like ours, where the highest level of immersion is of the utmost importance." Now, this stood out to me because it sounded a lot like a quote from the Lies of P developer when they were talking about the PS5 Pro. They were talking about the PS5 Pro enhancements in a Eurogamer article, and they said the following: "We believe that frame rate truly matters the most in a premium action RPG. The precision and fluidity required for this genre are critical to the combat experience. Thanks to the PS5 Pro's outstanding performance, we're able to maintain an optimal frame rate at 4K, ensuring the gameplay feels as smooth and responsive as it should." Now, as somebody who wholeheartedly agrees with what these devs are saying about frame rate, I am thrilled to see this standard get more traction. We really need more games to capture the vision of 60 FPS is the standard. We cannot go backwards. And if the Pro helps this happen, then I am all for that. Now, back to the Gaming Bolt article. Here's what they said about PSSR versus raw GPU power. Sony's PSSR is a substantial push for the super sampling tech that other companies are experimenting with. It's a great initiative as, in the future, this can allow developers to focus slightly less on performance and have bigger creative liberty. If what Sony is proposing will become a new standard, then PSSR could potentially turn out to be even more important than the direct increase in GPU power that the console delivers. So, there's two big takeaways here. First, he sees PSSR as potentially becoming a new standard. This could be huge, especially for the future generations of PlayStation consoles. And second, it would be more important than just increasing GPU power. Not that you wouldn't increase GPU power, but it would be leveraged in a bigger way and probably lead to better performance in games across the board. Now, given recent comments from other developers, this actually seems to be happening. BioWare's studio technical director said the following about Dragon Age: "The team at BioWare is proud of how immersed players will be when they enter the beautiful world of Thetis with the upgraded image quality, thanks to Sony's new AI-based upscaler, PSSR." Now, After playing Dragon Age Veilguard on my standard PS5, the performance mode isn't the best, right? It maintains a stable 60 FPS, but the resolution goes down, image quality gets kind of muddy. It's good, but it could be significantly better once I finally get to play that game on the Pro, and I won't have to wait long. Then, Hello Games developer said that the PS5 Pro absolutely rocks, and the Lords of the Fallen tweeted recently saying that their game would get a 40% increase in pixel density. And you might hear all this and say, okay, sure. Devs are excited, they're praising it, that's all well and good. Maybe they're in the pocket, or maybe this is just, ambitious excitement and it's not necessarily real, it's just hype, okay? Well, how does PSSR stack up against other technology? Let's have a look. The PS5 Pro has certainly been the center of a lot of conversations, and that has never been more true with just how busy it's keeping the boys over there at Digital Foundry. And if you haven't seen their breakdown of the 11 games from the hands-on preview, be sure to check that out. But they have also been comparing PSSR to DLSS and FSR. And there's a lot of nuance here, so I'm just going to try to pull out some highlights and some quotes. Also, there's no perfect comparison here because FSR is available on consoles and DLSS is not. But as the Dying Light developer director pointed out, PSSR could become the new standard. I could actually see that happening for PlayStation because the PS6 is going to have PSSR, and that's out of the box. So over time, that could supplant and replace FSR for the console, but more on that in a moment. The first thing I want to look at is an article from WCCF Tech titled PlayStation 5 Pro Horizon Forbidden West Patch Image Treatment Solution Delivers Image Quality Close to NVIDIA DLSS. Say that 5 times fast. And in it, they say the following. During the latest episode of their weekly podcast, the tech experts at Digital Foundry discussed this new image treatment solution, saying that it delivers a pristine image quality that is close to what NVIDIA DLSS can deliver on PC and considerably better than what we have seen PSSR do so far. Now, what I gather from this is that PSSR is just starting to crack the surface. We haven't really seen it flex its wings yet. And Alex from Digital Foundry wrote an article for Eurogamer, and his byline seems to communicate that. The article is titled PS5 Pro's PSSR Upscaler Tested Against FSR 3.1 and NVIDIA DLSS 3.7 in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And the byline claims that just one implementation in one game, but the results are compelling. Now, further down in the article, he goes through a lot. There's a lot of nuance with image quality, but they say that, hey, we need more time with PSSR. There's got to be some more games to leverage it to truly render a verdict. But he does say this at the end. Based on today's testing, there are areas where PSSR is vastly superior to FSR 3.1, the technology it is most frequently likely to replace, and to the eye, it's easily preferable. Assuming these differences translate to other games, PS5 Pro owners can appreciate significantly improved upscaling quality. So, as I said, PSSR is just sort of cracking the surface. It hasn't really flexed its wings just yet, and that could mean even bigger things when it shows up on the PS6. Another reason the PSSR should be considered a bit of a sleeping giant right now is because of PlayStation's plan for it long term. All the way back in March of this year, 2024, Insider Gaming broke the story about PSSR before anything was officially announced, and Tom Henderson has continued to prove he's got really good contacts at PlayStation. Everybody doubted him when he said that there was a PlayStation Q Lite coming, and that ended up being the Portal, and then everything he talked about with the PS5 Pro and even PSSR turned out to be true. So the cynics and the doubters really look a little silly because he clearly had good info. But something really important that has been glossed over and maybe even forgotten was a line about Sony's ambitions for PSSR into the future. And it's this quote here. PlayStation's ambitions with PSSR is to achieve 4K 120 FPS and 8K 60 FPS. Whilst these are not the targets for the PS5 Pro due to hardware limitations, it is the internal goal for PSSR in future console iterations. Okay, so this means that PSSR will be in the PS6 out of the box. You're going to buy a PlayStation 6 and it's just going to come with PSSR. Now, this also means that the Dying Light director is very likely to be correct. This will become the standard upscaling tech for the PlayStation console. And recent remarks from the co-CEO of PlayStation makes it very clear the PS5 Pro technology is part of a long-term plan. In a VGC article titled "PlayStation CEO Says PS5 Pro Was a 5-Year Project, Development Started Before PS5 Launch," he said the following: "We design everything with having one ahead in our mind. It's not like we just make a next step and we don't know about the 2 steps ahead. That's not our way of working, because we need to make sure that the 10-year-old generation cycle continues to be going as well." So the PS5 Pro is not just some mid-gen refresh for the enthusiast. It's a stepping stone in a larger plan. And the centerpiece of this plan is PSSR. You have to read the comments from the co-CEO in light of what Tom Henderson shows is the long-term goals for PSSR. Ray tracing is going to continue to evolve and advance. We know this. Lighting will get better, path tracing will get better, all those things will get better and continue to increase. GPU power, CPU, memory, all of these pieces of technology will get stronger and will be stronger in the PS6. But the PSSR effect is already happening. Devs are using it, devs are praising it. They want to do more with it. Their first passes with it are so impressive, they're coming close to already existing technology that is in the market right now. And if it becomes the go-to upscaler for the PlayStation console, well, that's even more leverage and power for PlayStation. When I said that the PS5 Pro would be market disruptive because of the ray tracing, because I knew how much devs liked ray tracing, I still think that's true, but PSSR is stepping out from the shadows, and it's looking to stand even taller than the GPU and the advanced ray tracing. So, the PSSR effect is definitely something to pay attention to as we go into the future. But those are just my thoughts, and I would love to hear your thoughts. If you leave a comment below, you may get featured in the live stream that follows this video. It hits a card right here, and there's a link to the live stream pinned below as well. And as always, if you like this content, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe.